Cool. Evan, what are these? Evan, I see you committed some like XML files.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Dot idea.
What is that?
It's probably like JetBrains stuff. I'm just gonna ignore them.
Okay.
Just gonna ignore that.
Good
That's
plan.
what I do with all my problems. Yes. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Free Lives development stream. Unless this is your first stream, in that case, welcome to your first Free Live stream. I hope it's great. My name is Robbie. I'm going to be working on this cool base building game called Second Earth. I can only assume that Terrence is going to stick a link to the game in the description. You can play a version of it now on itch. And I'm going to be working on some stuff for a new update, which will hopefully come out next week, I guess, but it's going to have some cool new features. Just trying to do source control things. Yes. Why? Okay, I have to sort out this source control stuff later. So, the thing that I've been working on today is, and this is one of the new buildings that we have for the new update, is this sort of tritium laser, which at the moment is a little bit broken and doesn't use tritium at all. But the idea is that you have some kind of laser tower that can drill through cliffs like this. Yeah. Anyway, so we've been through a couple of design iterations with this. At first we wanted to have them just sort of mining out in a radius around the tower, which is sort of what this does now. But then we had it for a while where, so that had the problem of, if you wanted to sort of mine deep into a shelf of rock, you had to keep destroying your towers, rebuilding them, changing your road networks to get the tritium delivered and that kind of thing. And it was a lot of busy work and it wasn't fun. And then we had a system where you just build one tower with a really large range, and then you would sort of mark out with like another tool the tiles you wanted the drill to drill away. That also didn't feel very good. It was also kind of like an extra step to do things, and it was confusing, and sometimes you'd forget to like place the little markers. So that wasn't ideal either. So the new idea, which is going to be objectively better than both of these, is that we have sort of, you still build sort of the one laser where little trucks will carry the tritium, but then you'll be able to build these sort of like mirror ball reflector things. They might not look like this, they'll probably look cooler in the future. But anyway, then you can sort of chain together the laser, so you'll have a bunch of these, and the laser will fire into them, and it will go like bounce along, and then the last one can aim at the rock. So you just need to sort of extend your network of laser towers with these things, which won't require like road access. And this also has some like other nice systemic benefits in that it's sort of a way to carry tritium across gaps where cars couldn't drive and that kind of thing. And it's definitely cooler. So that's the new design.
Is it going to be both able to mine away cliffs and kill bugs.
Yes.
That's the thing that the fans are going to want to know.
Yeah.
Fans putting little inverted commas around that.
Yes. The fans.
So many fans of this game.
The fans. Is there anyone watching the stream?
Yep.
Do we have any fans? Okay. Are you all just people that I know, I'm assuming? Anyway, thanks, Terrence, for that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Makes me feel like I'm not wasting my breath. Anyway, so let me get Visual Studio on the screen. So I started sort of rewriting the whole Tritium drill system this morning. If I look tired, it's because I woke up at the crack of dawn, aka 7 a.m., to take my car in to get serviced. But it did mean I managed to get quite a lot of headway done on the new Tritium laser. So at the moment where we are is there's this laser drill class, which at some point you can see I've left a comment here, should actually connect to the power and the sort of commodity transport system. So that's on the list of things to do. There's this laser drill targeter thing, which both the reflectors and the drill will have this component. And then there's the laser barrel, which handles sort of the visual side of the firing and things. And then finally, there's this laser reflector, which has nothing in it yet. So the reflectors, I just started making this sort of like temporary model thing here, are these little snap together pieces. So the next step is to make the laser be able to chain together in these like prism towers. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, right? So the obvious thing is, first I'm just gonna move the drill out of the range of any cliffs. I'm gonna place another one of these here. So the idea is that although this laser can't reach any drillable cliffs, it can drill away these ones by chaining them together and going key, key, key. I hope that makes sense. So, looking at the code, inside laser drill targeter here, we can see we have this find target method, and what that's doing is it's sort of doing a physics sphere test to find all the enemies that are nearby, and if there are enemies, it'll find the nearest one and target that one. If there are no enemies nearby, it'll then look for cliffs cells within the radius. And what we need to do now is sort of extend this to sort of use the extended laser tower network, so including the reflectors and not just the drill itself. So I wonder if these need some kind of concept of all of like the reflectors that are connected together. Just gonna take my jersey off while I think about this. So I think I am gonna make a sort of laser reflector manager that'll have some sort of concept of reflectors that know about each other. There's quite a few things in the game that already work that way, so it makes sense to continue using that pattern. Call this a laser manager. So if anyone's trying to follow along and getting confused, please just stop me, tell me to talk more clearly or explain what I'm doing or do something more interesting. Okay. So singleton behavior to make this more publicly available. Actually, do we want a laser network? No. Scrap this idea. I've changed my mind. No laser network. Also, I don't know why I'm closing Visual Studio. So it's not the same as the other networks in the game because it does go sort of link to link. It's not just about overall connectivity. So each reflector does need to know specifically about the reflectors nearby. Yeah, so a lot of what I do is undoing and redoing my own or other people's work because you figure out a smarter way to do it. And that's kind of important if you're making a very systemic game like this. Otherwise, you can just get yourself in a spaghetti mess that you can never get out of. Okay. If I make this a building component, which all of our components that go in buildings tend to be, then I can easily get a list of all the reflectors that exist. Is there, I guess this, I was just gonna get the other laser component, the targeting component, so I could use the range, but I think these can actually have separate ranges. So you could have sort of a short range of like how far it can fire, but a longer range when it's connecting specifically to like other reflectors. And that's pretty neat. Whatever, something like this. So just testing the distance. It's going to cause some double registering. Okay, so theoretically now a laser reflector will know about all the reflectors in its radius when it's created. And it will also notify said reflectors that it is in its radius. Does that make sense? I think we are going to get double registering here. Just gonna guard against this. I want to do something similar when we destroy. So this is just a little check to make sure that this doesn't accidentally trigger when the game is shutting down weirdly, because sometimes things don't exist and on-destroy still gets called when like the actual objects are getting cleaned up after the entire game is quit and that kind of thing. Just gonna do this inline. Sorry if I keep changing my mind about all these things. Programming on stream makes me like at least 50% stupider. And that's a 50% I can't afford to lose.
It's the final 50%.
Yeah, that 50% was all I had going for me. Okay, so unless I've made a mistake, which is likely, the reflectors should now sort of notify each other when they're constructed and destroyed. So a reflector, in theory, always knows which reflectors are in its range. Reflectors also do need a reference to the targeter. So the reason I'm doing some of this in Awake and some of this in Start is just that I like to have all my references to things resolved in Awake so that I know that I can use them in Start. So anything that needs to do a get component or register somewhere, try to do that in Awake, and then I know things are theoretically all hooked up by the time Start rolls around. Expose that publicly by our property. Okay. So now, in the targeter itself, have I been doing this the wrong way? Maybe this should all be inside the targeter. Maybe I don't need to keep all of this state. Let's try something. Okay, so we can't find an enemy in range, and we can't find a cliff in range. Let's see if we can find our laser reflector in range. In fact, we should find all of the reflectors in range. And then we should sort them by distance or something. Or randomly. Basically, not sure I need this anymore. So I'm thinking about doing this recursively. But at the same time maintaining some kind of list of already explored targeters. So, just got a little recursive function here. I'm actually just gonna remove all this code that I wrote earlier, because who needs it? Just need a reference to the targeter at the moment. So find target calls this method find target recursive, which it also passes in a list of already explored reflectors, so that we don't get into an infinite loop where reflectors are constantly checking each other for new targets. The only thing I'm wondering now is what order this is going to happen in. And it might well be something weird. Also, at the moment, this has, I mean, it'll find the target, but it's not storing any information about how it got there or what the chain is. Which isn't super ideal. But I wonder if this is just going to work.
Has it worked?
Evan's laughing at me, but it might. So, I mean, it might just. It's not going to chain, but it might still drill away this rock.
You might not have
Right.
broken everything.
Or it might also just hang in an infinite loop, which is also like a distinct possibility. Ah. The range is too long. What is your range, though? Can you actually reach that far? Yeah, okay, so it is working. So this one is finding these targets via here. But obviously it shouldn't just be shooting all the way, it should be shooting and chaining along.
It's pretty easy to add those points as a line renderer.
Yeah, I mean that's not what I'm worried about. So if I make this like 8 and 8 and 8, so they should be pretty short range now. Oh. Now they just can't find anything. It's not ideal. What if I just move this one down? Okay, so I'm pretty sure it is firing actually via this one. So the laser reflector, just realized, needs some bits from the laser turret thing. Laser barrel? This thing. Most notably the line renderer. So that's kind of just some visual stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out how to structure this so that you can store the chain. Can I just make it a list in here? Is this gonna work in any way? Just gonna log this out. do the thing. Okay, so there was. Okay, so the order. So that's not bad. I want this to be the other way around, so I'm going to always insert this at the beginning of the list.
Ivan. The way I deliver my pronounce your name. Ivan. Yes. Yes.
It's very exciting. Evan's opening packages next to me. What is it? Gravity black. Oh, this is the blackest oil paint
In the world,
in the world.
containing carbon fiber nanotubes. The light.
This feels like a marketing gimmick.
Could be.
How much blacker than regular black oil paint could it be?
Well, that's something I'm going to find out, I guess.
And it has to be pretty black. It comes in this sort of bolt-shaped tube.
I suspect it's so black you can never wash it out of anything. If you get a bit on yourself, even if you dilute it to like 1/100th of its original like blackness, it would still make your skin utterly black.
I feel like it's going to be the same amount of black as like just the regular black you get in like a set of oil paints.
Okay, well,
But
when you
I
see
mean,
it,
maybe we
when
should do
you
like
see
an A/B test of like
when you see
regular oils and blackest black in the world.
there's another one that I've got on its way that is the blackest black acrylic in the world.
Gonna compare.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm
What
on
are
a
you
waiting list. I'm on a waiting list for one that's even 1 degree more black.
what
when
do
it
you?
gets finally invented.
When it gets invented, you're on a waiting list for inventions. What are you planning on painting so black? The curtains.
So Leroy, when the mood takes him, has eyes that appear to be windows into the void.
Sometimes they're windows into his tennis ball soul.
Into his tennis ball. So eyes that appear to have seen the full extent and completeness of the universe and have come away wanting. I feel like I need the blackest black to do his mood justice.
Properly painted picture of Leroy.
Yeah,
Yeah. We also need the shiniest silver.
I'm getting that too,
Yeah.
as it happens.
Smoothest gray.
Not-
Shiniest silver.
I'm not getting the smoothest grey, unfortunately.
Okay, good job, Leroy. Okay, so I now have a list of reflectors in the chain in the correct order, and this might even work if there's more than two reflectors. So I'm going to do a little bit of refactoring here and get rid of this target type, because Actually, hang on. Because the enemy could become null. I should do this the other way around.
It should look, if it is as good as it says it is, it should look 2D. Because there's like, it doesn't matter what angle you look at it from, it'll be pure black. That just is black. If you shine a light on it, it's still just black. Oh, there's no first weekend with next weekend.
Yeah, this is going to be slightly less code, which is a win for me. Jared's looking at me funny.
Yeah, it's nice.
Thanks.
Okay.
Do you want to know which conditioner I use?
You never told me.
It's my secret. I can't just give it away.
Come on, dude. Come on, give me your secrets.
If I told you my conditioning habits, you just everyone would have amazing hair, and it wouldn't be special. What? I have to do this. All right. So now the laser barrel. Just trying to think about how this is going to work. Make a second version of this that fires at a reflector rather than a target. Ah. So this laser barrel class is responsible for firing the actual laser sort of visually, and it has a timer, and once the timer is sort of done, then it'll do this. At least in the case of a cliff, that's what we want. We might want to start dealing damage right away for an enemy, but we'll see. This is fine for now. So the next thing we need to do is make sure that if we're firing down a chain, we fire the reflector so let's try that. I'm going to build a delay in here as well. So what I want is sort of a staggered effect, so it doesn't all fire at once. It goes like do 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 do, something like that. Actually, let's just get it working without that first. So publicly expose the barrel. So if there's nothing in the chain, you can just fire the laser directly. If there is, we have to do something a little bit more clever. So we're gonna fire first thing in the chain. Damage and duration stay the same. We could even do interesting things where we like attenuate the damage as it travels along the chain. Or reverse attenuate the damage. I don't know what the word for that is. And then thing at the end of the chain.
Oh yeah. Okay, but listen, you get it back to me. Joe buys us something too.
Is this just gonna work? It's gonna shoot at the ground to the reflectors, but I'm okay with that.
That's the last cliche I didn't use, so we'll go to that. Yeah.
A competition.
What?
An office-wide competition.
For crazy.
Using Jared's game.
Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Are you mostly doing it because you're in the lead?
Because I already have my entries. Can you do better than mine? Probably not. Look at
Does it
this.
make it good?
Shark on board.
This is pretty great. Okay, I need to make it aim at the top, obviously.
One on the spot.
Good.
It's got sword already.
What about you can have like turtle
Hmm.
just a beer.
Where even is that laser
Yeah.
brow?
I was gonna go for that, but you can do it.
No.
No, you wouldn't have taken it.
It's gonna be cricket ball themed.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yes.
Right, Evan, look at this, look at this. This is gonna be exciting.
I'm already excited.
Yeah. But this is gonna be exciting specifically because of stuff that I've made now.
Okay. You should put them at like a bendy. The fact that they're like such in a row there, kind of. That's ooh. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's good.
So it's obviously not very polished yet. And it doesn't have any of that Jonathan magic.
You're right. Why doesn't it have Jonathan's magic on it?
I don't know. It's like Jonathan doesn't care about us anymore.
No, it's like you put it. I saw it on your screen earlier, like or yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point.
Why is
Um,
Jonathan magic
I'm not too
stolen?
sure.
So you're gonna have to describe to people how cool it was. So
Imagine it was.
okay, you.
Imagine it was the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, but just imagine it was in general an effect made by Jonathan.
Imagine it was a glacier cracking off and falling into the ocean,
And then,
except there was this mesh of rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. This is the good stuff.
Very good.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna add a little bit of. So we could also do a thing where the more links there are, the more damage it does, or the less damage it does.
So because you're constrained to the tritium patches a lot of the time, would that matter too much? I mean, you don't get really a choice of where you put the. I mean, efficiency dictates that you. Yeah. If it was more damage, you'd try exploit it by driving trucks far away. I don't know if that behavior is actually fun, kind of.
Well, so
With less damage.
you would try to have more just like things closer together, so it goes like dig 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 dig. and then it
or
goes-
you'd move them around or something.
Yeah.
But is that actually like a behavior we want people to adopt?
I don't know,
Less
but
damage.
it might be something that's.
Less
So
damage.
you know what? Even if it doesn't deal more damage, the sound should go like. Like we should pitch it slightly, so it has that sort of peggle thing of like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you could do the same amount of damage, but there's like a slight delay on it firing. It's like
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
And then it does actually come with a very slight time delay, but what happens when you shooting at a bug? Because you don't want it to like take a long time per shot, do you? If you were shooting at a bug, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we'll just have to see how it feels.
I mean, more damage further sounds more interesting than less damage. You know, like a disadvantage to it being further. Just because. I suppose the spatialness does matter then, so you wouldn't do certain things if the. Like building a defense system from far away makes less sense if there's like. It's less good. But we sort of want people to do dumb things there, because it still costs you resources to build there. I don't know what the right answer is. It still costs. I mean, I like the idea of the sound anyway, regardless. Like, that sounds good. It can be quite fast if we needed it to be not substantial in terms of your decision making.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do the delay so long. I think I've thought of a better way to do this. I'm gonna move this logic out of here and instead into here.
What does it mean?
The charger. Flat voice.
So
It's usually it's a different we should do
this should still operate pretty much the same as before. Except clearly doesn't. Right, this shouldn't be happening.
Rhythmic Gaming says hi, Robbie.
Hi. Well, welcome. We're making lasers.
Oh, right.
So what I'm trying to do now is build in a slight delay between like when the laser propagates to the next reflector. But what's actually going on in my head is I'm sort of trying to figure out what the behavior is going to be if you had like quite a complex network of these like multiple lasers and things, because you don't want any sort of discontinuous broken lines and things like that. So I want each laser barrel to take care of its own state, just so it always like propagates to the next one instead of the original tower sort of making a bunch of decisions and then different towers sort of like overruling each other. No idea whether that makes sense. If you're confused, I'm sorry. So am I. It doesn't matter. Okay, so there's sort of two pods here when you fire a laser. One for if you're just directly hitting a target, in which case we fire immediately. One for if you're firing at a reflector, which will then hopefully propagate the laser down the chain, in which case we want to fire with a little bit of a delay. Or more. Actually, we want to fire immediately. we want to delay the firing of the next one. So it's this line. So we do kind of then need to store the target. Huh. Awkward. Let's do the propagation timer. So this, I think, will all still happen. Something like that. And in here. Jonathan, that doesn't seem true on my side. But it might be that you've taken Evan's pull and I haven't. Okay, do the thing. It looks pretty weird. If I made this a lot shorter, I think it would look better. Jonathan. Can you have a look here for a second? So, first of all, I read your message about the drill map, and I'm working in the drill map. It's working for me. I can have a look at your error.
If I open any of the other maps, it seems fine, just not this one.
Weird. I'm also might be on a slightly different version because I don't think I've pulled items, changing them, so that might be related. Just trying to figure out. So we've got this sort of delay now in the lasers, and I think how it should work depends a lot on the visuals. So it's kind of a bit jarring.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the beam needs to sort of like start and then sort of like emanate forward a bit, or if it needs to be a thing where there needs to be a longer pause and something builds up there, so it's like bzzing, bzzing.
Right. My gut feel is that there should be less of a delay.
Okay. Let's try with like 0.1 second. Yeah, maybe that's. I guess they are supposed to be lasers. They're not known for delaying.
Yeah. I feel like the delay is more to imply the direction of things, the direction of the flow, rather than it is.
But it still feels to me like there should be something traveling
Yeah.
more than just. It's weird that each section is instantaneous,
Yeah.
but the entire thing takes time.
Yeah.
But I think that could be solved by having these like charge out. So it's like bing and then it goes, and the next one goes, so it's like each laser is instantaneous. But I don't know if that's the way to go, or if there should be a more visual like. Whoop.
Yeah. Maybe the whole thing should be instantaneous, and that you get the direction of it through the laser beam itself having like more of a directional pulse.
I'm trying to make a little bit of a story here.
I do kind of like the anticipation of like
Yeah.
if it was charging, and like there's quite a significant delay,
Yeah.
like, and each thing was going like, I don't know.
If you leave empty functions for me to fill them with, I don't know, triggering up some chemicals or something.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so
I'm not sure. I'm gonna test
at the
this
moment,
out,
I'm
but
just
I
gonna
don't
make it
think
not
it's
fire
that
at a reflector that's already firing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important.
Is this like stuff you're gonna put add into the
Or a reflector that has recently fired, maybe.
This is the start of the actual Tuckman.
cool.
Explaining the rules.
So I don't want a weird thing where it's like lasers are sort of following each other down the wire.
Right.
We'll do something like that, but at the moment there's just one sort of tweakable variable here, which is this like propagation time.
So if there are multiple drills, and the one already hits the reflector thing, then the others can't shoot at it.
Maybe that should work.
I mean, maybe if multiple things shoot at the same reflector, like the beam is bright brighter and
Yeah, I mean that is cooler and thusly probably how it should work. I mean this is cool. Obviously, that's cool. That should be a super rad way to build it like a super weapon, actually.
yeah.
So just pipe 1,000 things into like one death laser. That should like amplify, like that should be like more than 2 times as strong.
Yeah, binding beam should be more than whatever. It needs the graphical effects for that because they're quite.
Yeah. Oh, this it's not orientating itself super well. Oh, I guess the whole
It's not rotating actually.
yeah. Or it is rotating, but it's aiming down there. So you can fix easily enough. I actually think that like regardless of what we do, it probably would look better if there was just a little like
Across.
yeah, instead of an instantaneous thing. Like even if we do want sort of like the in between nodes to charge.
Sure.
I mean, I can literally just like move the endpoint of the
Yeah.
thing for now.
Yeah. Like that's what it'd be doing anyway.
Maybe have some other particle at the end. Okay. This might have to get more complicated later. In order to combine laser powers. That's non-trivial. Also, I seem to have broken the like cliff destruction thing.
Yeah, so
I think it's just a particle that I need to spawn.
Yeah.
That got lost somewhere.
sure.
Okay.
Find further challenges.
So there's actually just a method in Cell called destroy cliff. It's more just a problem of how Cell is going to have a reference to the prefab. I think you're going to have to put it in like effects manager or something. Is there one of those? Is there an effect manager in this game?
There
I
is
feel like Evan always makes an effect
some
manager.
managers in the scene. Or sorry, it's a child.
I see effects controller. There we go. Okay, so I think it's gonna have to be something here. Cool.
If I name it as Board Effects Controller, if someone else names
Yeah.
it as Board Effects Manager.
This is like this classic Evan. Every Evan project has this like huge monolithic effects controller
Yeah.
class with all the effects in.
I might do that less now that the nested prefabs are a thing,
Yeah.
because you could just put it in. It was something of a way to get around not being able to like put in an effect in multiple places and then just pull it from script.
Yeah. Okay, I think one of you two has to entertain the stream while I go make coffee.
Just Jonathan just like scratch Barksdale for a bit and stream. That's what the audience is really here for.
Yeah, people asking about dogs.
Oh, I'm not even. What are the names of the dogs? Well, Christian. This is Leroy Jenkins.
Can you actually see? I don't know if they can see.
That's not Leroy Jenkins.
This is Barksdale.
Avon Barksdale.
Avon Barksdale. Oh no! Oh no! Avon
Okay, do this for
Barksdale.
like 2 minutes while I make coffee.
Okay. This is Avon Barksdale. He's a bit smaller than Leroy Jenkins, who's a little bit larger and is the original. Terence, can you bring that painting of Leroy? Just, yeah, so they can.
The dolphin.
Yeah,
Or the more oily.
both. Leroy likes long walks. He doesn't really care where.
In case.
This is him playing sport with a dolphin.
Some sort of
With sort of mood lighting, purple mood lighting.
Dating profile.
This is him looking adorable.
Which is his most relaxed pose. This is just what
Yeah.
it is.
Also, you can see here the sheer blackness isn't really black enough. I can paint over this finally now to capture the blackness of his soul and just the despair.
Yeah, there's a bit too much hope in that black, isn't
It
it?
is. There's some distinct
No.
a distinct sense of hope coming from that
Oof,
black.
that's not.
It's not really what Leroy's about.
No, I'm not staring into the abyss when I look into this.
No,
That's the problem.
no. But in real life, you would be if you.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
if
And
it-
the abyss does stare back. And it begs for truth.
You're a bit closer to the camera here. So this is Leroy. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. This is employee of the month. Every month in a row.
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years running. He just does such a good job. Every time. I don't know how he does it. He's always here. He's always on duty. Doing his part. Keep Free Life running.
Improving morale.
Yeah. Yeah. Really is a faultless record. Anything else we can say about Leroy? Any questions?
You don't mention that he's a dog.
No, Robbie, I was just saying he's employee of the month. Every month.
Yeah.
For 4 or 5 years running.
close.
It's
For
like-
like years now. We do our best, but it's
Yeah.
just not good.
How do you compete with this?
Amazing. So every time someone's on stream and something non-ideal happens, like people talk loudly or we give away company secrets, I always just say it's a lifestyle stream.
Yeah.
And I've just been saying that so that I have an excuse to drop the stream halfway through and go and make coffee. Okay. But now that I have made coffee and presumably this will help my brain to function because it's almost 5 o'clock, I'm gonna keep making lasers. So it's working pretty well at the moment.
Christian, what software do you guys use for version control?
So we usually use Mercurial. I'm using Source Tree. Most people at Free Lives use Tortoise HG, but
Except when we're doing Git, in which case Source Tree Git is better than Tortoise Git.
yeah. But pretty much Mercurial and Tortoise HG is like the standard in the office. On our very securely encrypted.
You don't say that. This is asking for someone to ruin all of our work. It's a lifestyle
I
stream.
could be lying though.
On Twitch, stream_working wants to know, are you professional game devs?
It's a lifestyle
Yes.
stream.
Yes.
I said yes because we have made games and we paid to.
I'm literally getting paid to sit here
Yeah.
and talk nonsense instead of programming this thing.
Working at 50%.
No, I mean we work here. It's a game studio. We work full time. We make our own indie games, which we sell for money, which is how we afford to pay salaries.
And feed Leroy.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's pretty professional if you ask me.
Well,
Whether or not we are sort of like professional in how we behave is another question.
professional comes with certain connotations that I don't think exactly apply to us.
We're not the most professional company around, but we do like to pay ourselves for our work more than anything.
It's a core part of our
It's
operation.
in our Twitter bio, or it was. It's somewhere. It's very important that we.
When people start working here, there's this agreement that they'll get paid.
It's true.
It's true. We've sold out.
We sold out.
What are you saying now?
People sell out when they join us because we pay money. If you want to join a real indie studio, we're post indie now. You should join one that just pays you in potential revenue share and experience.
Exposure, don't forget exposure.
Yeah,
No, that exposure.
this is hurting, especially hard for Terrence, who recently got offered to do work for Exposure, which he was very angry about.
From a beer brand that didn't even offer me free beer.
From like Media 24 or something, which is like
Beer
a
brands
stupidly
have money.
huge corporation.
Yeah, a big beer brand who had hired a big media company who wanted me to work for free for them.
Shocking. Okay, so instead of just aimlessly scrolling now,
So what they were asking
I'm
you
gonna
to give
try
them exposure for
make the
exposure.
laser look
So
better.
they wanted to follow me around for a day and see occasions where I would drink their beer, their non-alcoholic beer, and then they would post those photos onto their sites. So basically, they wanted to use me as like, this is your regular dad going about his day, drinking this non-alcoholic beer, just like you would. Kind of thing.
The only thing preventing like dads from drinking beer on the job all the time is the fact that it has alcohol in it. Like as soon as they invented non-alcoholic beer, it's just dads all the time.
Yeah, I'm actually addicted to beer. It's not the alcohol I even like. I just wish beer didn't have alcohol so I could drink it all the time.
Are you interested? So stream_workin asks. Oh, that's good. It's nice. His username hints that the stream is working. So stream_workin asks, are you interested in co-working / meeting more artists while you're working? I don't think we particularly are. I mean, we work in an office with a whole bunch of people that is pretty much at capacity.
Well,
But I think if I was like a solo indie dev, I would be super interested in doing
also,
that.
we do occasionally have guest developers around. Hasn't happened in a little while, but that's a thing. Which is
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, sometimes we have like friends or other developers like living in our house and working in our studio and things like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
We
guess
did
actually we
spend-
are kind of interested in that.
We did spend a while in a co-working space in Bali.
Actually, I think I'm wrong. I think we are very interested in that based on our previous behavior of intentionally
Robbie's
trying to
not
make that happen.
Robbie's not keen on it, but the rest of us are definitely committed to it.
So what I think we are keen on is having our friends that we like, who are cool indie developers, hang out with us and inspire us and like be around and make the space more creative.
So I have another question then. If we like hanging around our existing friends so much, how do we make new friends who are also cool and talented?
How do we make friends?
I don't know. I mean, how did we come across the friends that we have that we like having around and invite to our house to live with us and work with us? I mean, is there
I
a
don't know.
pipeline for this? Is there like a way
Yeah,
that
so I
someone
think
could
you can
hang out
just
with us?
I think you can just ask to stay at our house. I think that's the
But
pipeline.
how do we know?
Well,
if
that's
you're a
part of the
friend?
pipeline because some of the friends we made because they stayed at our house.
So basically, we just like co-working with people. And
So I met someone at Train Jam who's gonna come and stay here for like at least a month over December when no one's gonna be here.
okay.
And we've had like very few interactions.
Okay, so basically,
But
if
she's
you're
rad,
already
so it's gonna be
co-working
great.
with us in some sort of scenario, it's likely we'll want you to co-work with us again. And also, I
Well,
think it's part of.
So we're very open to making friends.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and we're very.
We love
open
making
to
friends.
co-working with friends.
yeah,
Does that answer, I think that answers the question.
yeah. I hope that answers the question. Stream_working.
It was very funny to
So what I'm doing now, if I can get back to programming, which is my professional job.
Lifestyle stream.
I can't tell if you guys are laughing at me or laughing at the dogs. For my own self-esteem, I'm going to assume it's the dogs.
We can laugh with you as well at the good joke you made.
Oh yeah, yeah, that also works for my self-esteem. I guess I'm really interested in, are you laughing at me or are you not laughing at me?
No.
Okay, good. Can you get the point? Get position. I'm gonna have to store this. Unity, you've failed me. Vector 3 move towards, yeah. Let's try something like that. Pretty sure, and I know I say this on stream every time and I'm always wrong, but pretty sure this is just gonna work.
It's more confident than you were last time when it didn't work.
Yeah, it's like I've learned
Maybe-
nothing. It's
Maybe
like I'm
this will
reverse
just work.
improving. It's like I'm,
You say you're absolutely certain it will work. I think chances are zero that it will. That looked cool.
looked
I mean, slow but cool
cool.
and jittery.
So I think it needs a bit of a longer propagation time and a much faster sort of.
It's a bit more like
Beam time.
a bit more like a Star Wars or like Ultraman laser now.
It's like the Eiffel Tower. Look at it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Imagine this looked way cooler.
It's
There's
good.
one.
It's
There's
gonna look
there's
really good.
there's one frame of
Did the
actual garbage.
did the hands of Nod or whatever they were have like a movement to them like that?
The prism towers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think they had this weird kind of like. I think they all went at once,
So were
but
they
there might have been
absolutely-
like 2 layers where it was like.
Were they absolutely instant or was it like?
I think it was no, it was instant.
Oh, this is better.
Yeah. Also, you just reminded me how good the Hand of Nod is as like
Hand of Nod is like the best.
as a
like,
design.
Any.
But the original one, not the Tiberian Sun one. The Tiberian Sun one is stupid. Wait, this is a half-hour video.
You should full screen it.
Unit promoted. Unit
It's a
ready.
half-hour video.
Building.
Epic
Construction
prism tower
complete.
attack. Oh, there's prism
Building.
towers.
You should full screen
Construction
it.
complete.
But then people won't be able to see my
Here. Construction complete.
YouTube recommendations and
Building.
reverse engineer
Construction complete.
my
You've got political views.
yeah. More like my
Construction.
Lack of political
weird
views.
hobbies,
Construction.
embarrassing hobbies.
Building.
They're,
Oh, so good.
so I think they're all instant except for the last
Building.
one. That's what it looks like.
Construction complete.
Like they all go and then the last one goes.
Structure sold.
Oh, you see that? How good was that?
Building.
Yeah,
Construction complete.
that's pretty much instant.
Construction complete.
They shouldn't go for it.
Unit
I think these are
firepower upgraded.
those are dogs.
Cannot deploy here.
Should-
Building.
I mean, not much better.
Building.
Is this
Construction complete.
guy
Building.
just literally
Construction
destroying the
complete.
base with prism
Our base is
towers?
under attack. Construction
The
complete.
epic prism tower attack is
Building.
not as exciting as
Building.
yeah. It looks pretty
Construction
instant.
complete.
Look how cool this is, though. It's still cool. This
Yeah,
game rules.
everything shoots
Construction
to.
complete.
Doesn't it like it chains more than once as well? Right?
Yeah,
Our base
but they
is
all
under
still
attack.
like combine together.
Repairing.
Oh, the destruction's so
Repairing.
good. I forgot it.
This whole game is
Repair.
great.
Building. Construction
There's
complete.
all these like interesting sort of like
Building.
attack vectors as well, where
Construction
like
complete.
you could capture
Building.
buildings with engineers and
Construction
things like that.
complete.
It's not just like
Building. Construction
cut and
complete.
dry.
It
Building.
wasn't enough of the
Spies.
The capturing buildings with engineers is great, but it actually was not like a particularly viable strategy a lot of the time.
Super fun.
Show us what's the working hours like?
Absolutely brutal. Today I woke up at 7 a.m.
And you had to do a stream at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Player defeated.
No. Most people arrive sort of 9, 10-ish and go home like 5, 6-ish, like normal 9 to 5. Some of us live in the house office, and I don't know. I feel like my hours are pretty erratic. Where sometimes I start at noon, sometimes I start at 10. And today, which is like a once-off, I started at like 8.
Where did you start at 7, Robbie?
I had to go take my car in to be serviced
At 6.
at 7. I woke up at 7.
So when did you
That's
start work?
Probably only at like 9 actually. But it was still very early to wake up.
Construction complete.
You realize taking your
Building.
car in to have it serviced
Construction
isn't part of
So
your
the-
job here.
Building.
Yeah, I know.
Construction complete.
I'm more just trying to garner sympathy for waking up
Building.
earlier than I usually
Construction
do.
complete. Building.
What?
Construction complete.
My
Yeah,
car.
we used to
Yeah,
drive real
yeah.
far to get here.
I had to wake up early to drive.
To miss the traffic.
You know how much traffic I caught today? It was wild. I can't believe how much traffic there is on the M3 at rush hour.
Building.
Robbie just said it was wild. So
Building.
that can be
Yeah.
one thing.
Anyway,
Construction complete.
this is like a perfect microcosm of all my hobbies here.
Unit
Game
lost.
Maker's Toolkit,
Construction complete.
footballer vlogs,
Repairing.
Rock climbing?
vocal coach
Cannot
reacts.
deploy here.
Guitar
Construction
pedals.
complete. Building.
Climber fights an
Building.
MMA
Our
fighter.
base is under attack.
More
Do you wait to see
more
that
nonsense
Muay-
football. More climbing.
You went to see that Muay Thai
Something video
fight
games.
in Thailand, remember?
And then it's just red alert after this.
You went to see that Muay Thai fight in Thailand. You're now like officially a fan.
No, it's actually he's like a cool climber that I follow on YouTube.
He does Muay Thai now.
No, it's just one video, I'm guessing. Look how good this design is. It's like
Yeah.
a building.
Look how crap it got.
I didn't like the hand one.
Look how bad it is in the other version.
Yeah, that's bad.
So garbage.
But this original one,
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
fine. Did it
So-
rise out of the ground like
It's
a
just a
hand?
hand holding the earth coming out of the rock.
Shotgun boy.
I think we
Big.
actually do need a hand like that somehow in Second Earth.
Yeah.
We need
Or it should be some like creepy human thing, like a fetus or a, like a hand with a,
a hand with a fetus in it.
yeah, something like that. You
What
know,
does it do?
I don't know, but it has to be some like symbol of
Could
humanity.
could it just be like an artwork? You put up an artwork
Yeah.
to inspire people's happiness, and it's like a hand. with a
Yeah, to
fetus?
inspire people's productivity.
Could all of the art be like if you put up like national
Why are
artworks?
these
or
all so
whatever,
bad?
If you put up national artworks, they're like all this like very highly propaganda and stuff. It's like just a big eagle like killing like an arachnid or something, and there's like another one, and it's just like 5 men holding a flag, and like that's all the like the public art they're allowed to build. It's like these grotesque like nationalistic.
Just
monuments.
like an eagle holding the world,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spitting on it. Something what's on fire.
or just like giant versions of like the bathroom symbols for like men and women. It's just like
Yeah.
people.
Humans.
Yeah, exactly. Average American family. That's really good. So,
Yeah.
so I wanted to.
It's like a Statue of Liberty, but holding up like a hot dog and standing on a cockroach with the other hand. Like it's a bug spray and a hot dog. But like the
Wow,
Statue of
that's-
Liberty.
There's like really good building designs in the original Command and Conquer.
Yeah. We will stand forever. Something.
I love these. There's these buildings where like things come out of the ground as well. Okay. Anyway, getting distracted. But to answer the question about working hours, it's pretty flexible, I think, as long as you make enough video game. Would someone of real lives be interested in doing a workshop/talk at a university like Open Window? I think the answer to that would be yes. We've definitely done those kind of talks before. Evan recently gave a talk at Wits. I think Jonathan's done some talks at like other sort of art school type places. Send us an email. But yeah, we can totally do talks about things. What was he doing?
I keep emailing schools about it,
Jonathan even emails schools.
and they don't get back to me.
Jonathan's proactive about
And I just
making talks
assume
happen.
They don't actually want someone.
You're way too good for this world, Jonathan. This already looks way better.
Oh, cool. I guess like when it stops shooting to the end also does the movement. Like the start position moves.
Do you think it should all just shut off at once, or do you think that you could?
I mean, my gut feel is if when it starts shooting it moves, that when it stops
Okay,
the end.
I'm gonna try that.
It's pretty much 5 o'clock, Robbie. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Terrence is telling me it's pretty much 5 o'clock, which means he needs to go home to do parenting, I presume. Which means I need to get out of here. But I'm gonna do this quick thing first. I know you've heard that one before, Terrence.
Yeah. I'm eternally optimistic.
But there's no way I could be wrong about this. Wait, did I already mess this up? Okay.
Luke, how's it work? The sharing terms.
Oh, that's so good. It'd be cool if you could like flood fill the appendages and things so that they don't overlap. I know that that's really hard to do. So current start point. Something like that. Did I program this properly? Probably not. I know I said that I'll definitely do this right. But I could be wrong. Either way, it's probably time to end the stream. Let's see if it works. It's too fast for me to see. Don't think it's working. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day there then. Thanks everyone for listening to me ramble. I hope someone enjoyed that or learned something. If not, that's okay. I had a good time. Is someone going to be streaming tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Friday. Yes, someone will be streaming.
Yes, someone will be streaming. So tune in tomorrow for someone doing something at 3 p.m. Other than that, play this game on itch, join our Discord, buy Fire games on Steam. Have a good evening.